Hey guys, this is Ashten, Riddle Box with Jackalman Games. So I'm going to do kind of like a little review on this deck that we've been playing. It's eMaz, so it's been holding up pretty well. It does good with Mitigation, does good with the shields. It uses a lot of the shields to do some really cool stuff, whether it's amplifying damage or generating resources. It's definitely pretty quick. I think it does good with some of the range stuff that comes out, and I run enough mitigation, run some weapons. We're going to kind of go through some of that. So I'm not claiming to play the best variation of this. I'm sure that there's a lot of other builds that, maybe are more effective in some things, but I'm just going to kind of go over why I think these cards are fun to play, why I build this the way I did, and, go from there. So yeah. So first off, we're going to start with Hasty Exit. So Hasty Exit is card 153. It's a neutral card, it's yellow. It's 0 cost. So around this deck, because eObi won, you have to pay that one resource. I want to kind of keep some of those resources as much as I can. We'll get further into some other cards about how I generate resources, but 0 cost is really fun. It doesn't have to spot a yellow character, it's just plays. It's neutral, so it's just a good card because of that fact, I believe. And it gets rid of the indirect damage, which is obviously popular, the melee, and the range. But you do have to have control of the battlefield to play it. So you can't just do it to do it. It's a hasty exit. You give the battlefield to your opponent, but you get to mitigate one of those dice. Another 0 card staple, obviously, is we're going to get into Reaping the Crystal. Reaping the Crystal is 0 cost. It's 101 from the, what is it, Kevin? What's that set?
That's Empire War.
Yeah, there we go. 0 cost. So basically, play a blue card. Doesn't have to be a weapon or anything of that sort. Any kind of blue card that costs 3 or more from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1. So if we're going to play, Obi-Wan's Lightsaber, which is a great card right now, especially if you're stacking those shields with Obi-Wan or on Maz. You can play it only on a blue character, okay? So it's mostly going to work with the Obi-Wan combo, but it gives that character a shield when you play it special, and then it also does that unblockable damage based on the amount of shields you have on that character. So you play that with Reaping of the Crystal. We're going to play the classic Ray's Lightsaber, which gives you 1 shield when you play it, or 2 if it's Ray. Okay, has redeploy, so it links over to Maz, which is great. Just in case they hammer down Obi-Wan, you got something you can do with Maz. And I have won games before by stacking weapons on Maz. Another 3 cost, which I see in a lot of decks now from the new set of, came in the Rivals, right? So...
no, this came out of Legacies as well.
Oh, it did come out of Legacies.
They came out of the Luke starter deck.
The Luke starter deck, that's what it was. So this is a great card. All damage sides, nothing's modified, it's just black damage. Comes with that shield, comes with that resource. Another thing that's really nice about the synergy of these is we play Synchronicity. Now, Synchronicity is another 0 cost card, which is similar to the field that we're trying to play here with as much resources being generated towards the damage, not towards actually playing your cards. But if you hit that melee and you hit that shield, which you're going to have on these weapons, every weapon has melee and every weapon has a shield. It really helps with triggering that 2 unblockable damage, which is nice. Shields are everywhere. That 2 unblockable damage is a great thing. So we are running 2 of those, okay? And currently we are playing 1 of what you see so far. Another great thing that we're going to run is obviously Lightsaber Pull. Lightsaber Pull is what we're going to use to try to pull those weapons based on the situation that we're in. If we're needing some of that damage, we're going to try to go after that heirloom. If we're needing some of that shield, we're going to go for the Obi-Wan's Lightsaber to grab those 2 shield sides, or Rey's Lightsaber, which is fun. But mostly, we're pulling that for either your heirloom lightsaber, or I'm pulling it in case of getting a bad situation where I need to heal. I'm going to play my ancient lightsabers. So I am running 2 ancient lightsabers.
Is that the only budget breaker card in your deck?
I'd say for the most part, yeah. I mean, Shotos, I am running Shotos. That is my last weapon that I am running 2 of. Both of these are 2 cost. Shotos are a little expensive. Obviously, ancient lightsabers are getting more expensive every day. But those are probably the most expensive thing. Obi-Wan's not very expensive. It's a rare. It's not a legendary. This is a pretty good competitive deck that's pretty cheap. Obi-Wan's lightsaber is expensive. But I would say between these 3, these are your most expensive. I mean, these are what, $69 a piece right now?
On Cool Stuff Gaming, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we got roughly between just these cards here, we're probably going to have about $200, maybe $230. So, I mean, they are a little expensive, but you can pull them. People are looking to trade. Not so much ancient lightsabers.
No, I think people hold on to them.
The Shotos, people have been trading them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Shotos only are rare, so there could be a surplus of them.
Right. So right now we're kind of looking at the weapon generation. So next thing we're going to get into is we're going to get into a little bit more of the mitigation. So right now we have the $15 Sound the Alarm. Okay. So this is $15. You can only get it from the 2-player set. It is a 0 cost, and it lets you roll any number of an opponent's dice showing ranged or showing melee. So that's great. It's worked good for me for Palpatines. It's worked good for me for all the crazy villain stuff we're up against now, the 5-die villains. When you see all that damage sitting on the field, you don't want to use this for 1 or 2 dice. You got to remember, you got the ancient lightsabers to heal. You got those shields. This is something you want to use when you're looking at 4 or 5 dice sitting out there. I'm only running 1. I've contemplated running 2, but I'm only running 1 at this time, and you got to be careful when you play it, but it is a game changer.
Yeah, and right now specials are really popular, and it doesn't do anything to specials.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so it would be amazing if it did.
Now, so if we're running specials and we're up against that, we're going to play cards like Electroshock, okay? You got to spot a yellow character. So, we have that mitigation that's kind of demanding at Maz being there on the field, but you have those shields. I mean, Maz is typically where I'm stacking those shields. We have Riposte. Riposte is great. One of the previous games, if you guys subscribe to our channel, you'll see some of the other videos we played. First turn, or first round, I should say, we did not have control of the battlefield. Our opponent did claim it. Or won the roll, I should say, had control of the battlefield. And we stacked those 2 shields on Maz, and we just riposted that 2 damage immediately to Balatik, and gave us kind of the upper hand. And we just kept that aggression as fast as we could to win the game. So riposte is fun, always good. It does remove the shields. Typically, I like to stack them up on Obi-Wan, and then remove them off of him, but you just, depending on how the game goes. So the next mitigation card we're going to go after is Guard. So Guard is always a good card. It is hero only, just like Riposte, okay? It's hero only, it's 103. Now, what's nice about this, again, it's the 0 cost. So if you look, we have 0 cost, 0 cost on Riposte, 0 cost on Hasty Exit, 0 cost on Reaping the Crystal. Our weapons have, the most cost there, but they're 3. They're no higher than 3. So if you got to resolve that resource before you claim, or do something along the side of when you go to activate Maz, focus or grab that resource, then next turn play that 3 weapon. Everything else is 0 cost for the most part, so you really don't have to worry about keeping those resources, which is great because Obi-Wan's expensive. So let's get into some more of the 1 cost stuff that I have. We're running Disarm. So let's talk about Disarm. So Disarm, 1 cost, it is neutral. Remove 1 of your dice showing damage. Now, that can be a modified side, or it can be a black side.
Or indirect.
Or indirect, even. And you actually are able... No, actually, hold on. Has to be ranged, or it does have to be melee.
Yep.
So it lets you discard a weapon or an equipment. So a lot of people are playing these crazy things, like Maul's lightsaber, okay? The thing is beastly. I mean, you got ancient lightsabers, obviously, and you got Obi-Wan. Everyone's playing Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Yeah, 4 speeds are popular, light bow.
4 speeds, light bows, things of that sort. It always comes in handy. It's 1 cost. I am running 2. It has saved me in a lot of games. You play it, you get rid of it, it's out of the way. You ain't got to worry about it anymore unless you're playing the battlefield, but it just gets it out of there.
And one thing I've noticed, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I played Star Wars Destiny. And Yu-Gi-Oh! The discard pile or the graveyard was like another resource that you could use and definitely get stuff out of. In Star Wars, there's not a lot of card recursion. If it goes to the discard pile, it's almost gone forever.
Right.
So if you're knocking off that 4 speed, you're knocking off that light bow, it's like that person can't play with it anymore.
I mean, you can run cards like Cheat, which is a yellow card, allows you to take something from the graveyard and replace it with something in your hand. That's 1 card. There's also the battlefield that lets you do that. So, I mean, there are little things you can do, but it's not like there's a bunch of cards synergized around playing stuff out of your discard.
Yeah.
So run that Disarm, get it out as soon as you can. Get rid of that card or hang on to it when you know it's going to, about 3rd or 4th round in, when they're getting ready to play their game changer equipment. That's when you play that Disarm, get it out of there, take a deep breath, and then keep progressing.
It's a good momentum shift.
It is. It is a good momentum shift. Another good momentum shift, okay, is going to be Adapt. So Adapt is a 0 cost. It's a new blue hero card from Legend or from Legacies. So the shield generation that we grab, it lets you get that resource. It lets you be able to stack stuff up to be able to play those weapons. If you're playing against a character pair up that has a lot of disrupts, it's good. Lets you get rid of shields that you can generate quickly. It also lets you build back up when they're disrupting you. It's also good to save when your opponent claims, then play the adapt. Stack that hidden resource at the end, then load a weapon, so when you play next game, you've got that weapon already sitting on your character ready to go. Mm-hmm. So let's look into some other things. We have a Toro Strike. Now, this is a good card. The bad thing about this card is a lot of times when you're resolving damage, okay, you're kind of resolving independent packets. So when you roll out Maz after you activate Obi-Wan and you resolve 2 dice, a lot of times I'm resolving those dice independently. Sometimes I'll go ahead and stop before I resolve the 2 dice to play a Toro Strike later. It's a good kill card. It's not something that I'm always wanting to have in my starting hand. It's something that I'm okay with drawing later. It's kind of that last shot, that hidden shot, that momentum change. You know, it's a good finishing ability. I usually wait until I got something where I can resolve 6 with it. But what's nice is it says resolve one of your blue character dice. So it has to be a blue character. That's the only downfall, is that you have to wait until you have that Obi-Wan side showing. But it is very, very cheap. And it does stack that 3 damage.
Yeah, you can be hitting for 6.
What's also nice is you can set it up to where you play your heightened awareness. So you set up with this card. It's a 2 cost, gives a character 3 shields. You ambush, and then you can trigger one of your melee damage cards with the 3 shields you just stacked with a Toro Strike. So that does happen. We can build resources quickly. You stack that up. I've done this plenty of times where I have the 3 resources sitting out. I got that one 3-side Obi-Wan die. I play those 3 shields. I stack the 3 shields with a Toro Strike. I deal that 6 damage, and I'm sitting nice. I just a surprise attack. I got 3 shields. I just deliver 6 points of damage, and it basically shakes up your opponent.
It makes your shields be multifunctional.
Right. There's not a ton of combos in this deck. A lot of it is just, you know, with riposte and with guard. You know, these cards right here are really what helps build the scare tactic. Synchronicity is the other one that we were talking about earlier, which does that 2 unblockable damage. Everything basically generates a shield. Everything generates that melee side. I mean, she shields melee, shields melee, shields melee, so forth and so on.
Yeah. So
and then you got your melee and your shields. Only bad thing is you got that one ranged on Maz, which, you know, I can't do much about that. But the shields are there. The melee's there. The last card we're going to talk about is Fearless. So Fearless is great. It really helps build that speed. You want to grab these cards, your mitigation, as quick as you can. I try to at least have 1 or 2 mitigation cards in my hand every round. I try not to burn through them too quickly. I mean, I do have some here, but I don't have as much as I want. I try to at least have 1 in my hand so I can mitigate something every turn. Usually by 4th and 5th round, I can usually take the opponent out. If it starts getting to 5 to 6 rounds, I kind of run out of a little bit of speed. And then after that, you know, it's just hoping that my dice roll good. But we have stuff to remove weapons. We have stuff to remove equipments. We got plenty of shield generation. We have removal with guard. We have removal with electroshock. We got some removal, I should say, with sound the alarm. It's not really removal mitigation, but it's kind of, you know, it lets you jumble up their dice. You have hasty exit. You know, that's not a really depending one because you have to have that battlefield, but it is a 0 cost. I've used it most every time. And, you know, other than that, you got your damage delivery. I mean, he will throw out 11, 12 damage. He will throw it out. It's happened plenty of times.
Yep.
Actually, there's one round where I rolled out, what was that?
10 damage.
10 or 12 damage.
And killed Yoda 1 swing.
Yeah, so I mean, it happens. It's there. This deck's very fast. It delivers a buttload of damage. I mean, it definitely does. And it has almost an answer for everything. So if there's that scary, you know, God roll against the opponent, it's got that. If they start busting away my shields, I can quickly regenerate those. If I run out of resources, I can grab those resources. If I need to heal, I can heal. If I need to deliver, you know, let's say shields by sides of dice, it's there. It's always there. Resources is always there by the dice.
Also, if you were to activate Obi-Wan, and he is equipped with, where is it? There you go. with Shoto Lightsaber and Fearless, you draw a card and put 3 shields in Obi-Wan.
Yes, you do.
And then you can riposte them away, or and then you can do a Taro Strike if you want to save those shields, or you can get money out of them. Your shields they can do almost anything for you. They protect your character, they create resources, and they do extra damage.
That's the thing. They make that damage. That's what's great about this deck. That's why it's so fun. Yeah. You know, I've played I've played Yoda Qui-Gon. I actually like this better. I think it's got a little bit more synergy. You know, I have the yellow in there versus when you're playing Yoda and you're playing Qui-Gon, you don't have that yellow. Yeah. You can't get your hasty exits. You can't get your electroshocks. And you can't get your disarms. And I know that there's only, 3 cards that we're using that's yellow. Yep. But I feel that Maz's Resolve to Die just delivers that package of damage fast.
It means you don't have to run 4 speed.
Exactly.
Maz is your 4 speed.
I like 4 speed, in my opinion. I think, yes, it is 0. Yes, it does give you, the focus and it gives you the shields, and it's got the specials. But I think it's slow. I'd much rather stack that damage faster than try to stack those turns. But again, yes, I like to play... If it was in my drawing hand, let's say I had Shoto in my hand versus having Fearless in my hand. This may sound weird. I could have the wrong opinion for this, but I'd almost like to have Fearless in my hand first. It lets me draw that card. It gives me that shield. Versus Shoto, you have to have another blue weapon to grab that extra shield. This gives you a shield. It gives you a card. Then when I draw Shoto, after I've already been stacking my cards in my hand, I can just simply replace Shoto with my Fearless.
Right.
It gives you that changeover real fast without having to pay any of the resources. And then if I do want to change out my Shoto for, let's say Rey's Lightsaber or Obi-Wan's, or if I play an Ancient or something I want to, stack a bigger weapon on top of, I don't have to pay the 1 cost difference.
Right.
So this is a cheap deck to purchase, and it's also a cheap deck to play.
Yes.
So,
do you have any recommendations for budget players that possibly don't own the Ancient Lightsabers?
Here's what you could do. If you don't have the Ancient Lightsabers, you could run the new lightsaber from, play an exhausted character.
Oh, yeah. Goodness, that's from the draft kit.
Yeah, I think it's the handcrafted lightsaber. I think that's what it's called. But that's an awesome card. So you could play those instead. The original lightsaber that came out in the starter decks.
Oh yeah, the original 3 cost. Yep.
Yeah, those are good. Rey's staff isn't bad. Rey's staff still deals some damage. Yep. It's got a cool special. Those are some cheap cards you can play. Okay. But really, there's Ancients and Shotos. They gotta have them for this deck.
And you're almost confident that you're taking this to a regional tournament.
Yeah, I'm about 80% sure. I'm going to play a little bit more. It's been stacking good against these other decks.
Yeah.
If I just play through, take my time, think through it right, just keep the pace up and the aggression up, I think it'll do good. I think I can at least pace maybe 4th, 5th, maybe.
Well, top 8 is what we're shooting for.
Yeah, I definitely see this as a top 8.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for talking through your deck.
Not a problem.
See you later, guys.
Take it easy.